Ever wonder why razors are so expensive, huh? Maybe it's because razors are loaded up with so much shave technology. They got vibrating handles, 19 blades, a laser pointer, a compass, a thermometer, a back scratcher. I don't need any of that. And it's not fair to make me pay for it. I was sick of paying out the nose to get a great shave. That's why I made the switch to DollarShaveClub.com. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors and grooming supplies for a couple of bucks. It's simple. It's smart. It takes 2 minutes to get going, and then you will never have to worry about razors again. DollarShaveClub.com gives you a free handle, and then they send you replacement blades for just a few bucks. You can get the blades delivered every month, every other month. Your blades arrive like clockwork. Stop squeezing weeks of shaves out of an old, dull razor and start treating yourself to a fresh blade shave anytime you want. Believe me when I tell you, the DollarShaveClub.com blades are fantastic. I have never had a closer shave. Upgrade to the smarter way to shave. Get your shave gear where I get mine. DollarShaveClub.com/Piper. Piper.the. Shave time, save money. DollarShaveClub.com/Piper. That's DollarShaveClub.com/Piper. You're gonna love it. Just when you think you were away from me and had all the answers, I'd come back and see you and change the questions. Welcome back. Podcast Piper's Pit Pod. Episode 2 with Mick Foley. But before we get there, I'm going to share something with you. It's this one's difficult for Rod. There's a gentleman named Gary Weiss, and he wrote me a letter. And just here we go. I'm writing you to simply ask you to thank you and let you know that you have helped me and gotten me through the hardest time in my entire life and literally saved my life. Back in December 2011, my wife and I had our first child, a baby girl named Sydney. We have no idea why at the time, but we went to my wife's doctor's appointment one day, and they sent her straight to the hospital. She didn't know much about anything up till the day that she was born. She was premature and only weighed 3 pounds even. She was beautiful. You wouldn't think there was a single thing wrong with her other than she was tiny. She was born December 14th, and it wasn't until Christmas Eve that we found out what was going on. The doctor called us in his office Christmas Eve morning to tell us that our daughter had a condition called trisomy, Trisomy 13. We were told that she didn't have much time, and because of this particular condition affects every blood cell in her entire body, and that her body would eventually just shut down. They gave her a few weeks to live, so we slept on the floor at the hospital. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we had our first family holiday at NICU Children's Unit. She ended up a week later gaining some weight, taking fluids through her feeding tube just fine, and was allowed to come home with us. After we got her home, she fooled a lot of people. She ended up gaining weight and got up to 7 pounds. She was also able to go for car rides to store and doctor's appointments, visit family and friends, and we thought she had proved everybody wrong. Everything seemed to be going perfect, and nothing was different or seemed wrong or whatever. By then, on the night of February 25th, her heart monitor went off. Usually it would go off, and we would just calm her down and kiss her, and she'd be fine. Well, this time, that wasn't working. It kept going on and off and on and off, and just wouldn't quit. So we called her hospital nurse to come over, and she told us it was happening. Our little girl was slipping away from us. We sat there on the couch with her and between my wife and I, talking to her, singing, and just loving her. She ended up passing away in our arms that night. Just that fast, we blinked and she was gone. We were going through the hardest time in our lives, and we both ended up on medication to help with pain and depression. It worked for a while, but nothing around us made us forget our little girl. The house that we were in, we had to move out of it. A new place to live, new furniture, new everything to try and help some haunting thoughts of that night go away in time. It started to, but not completely. What I wanted to thank you for is Roddy Piper helped me get through this hard time, and you need to know this. My friend, when my friend would start to wander off, I'd pop in a DVD and watch my favorite of all time wreak havoc in the ring and on the mic. I spent many nights watching and listening to you, and you helped me through the bad thoughts and the dark places. I went, many times suicide passed through my mind. What did I have to do to lose? What did I do to lose? Who cares anymore at what point? The memories of you and watching so many clips of matches and viewers piled up and pulled me out of there. Between you and my wife, you both saved my life. And I just wanted you to know and to thank you. You touched more lives than you realize, sir. When we come back, the incomparable the dude love mankind, Mick Foley, part 2. Not sure which one's gonna do. You have kids, you hug them every moment you can. We'll be right back.
Let's go. The all-new Rich Eisen Show.
What is it?
What is it? Who better to tell you than Rich Eisen?
This is what we're going to have on the show. Just talking football along with music and movies and television shows. Interesting things of our pop culture landscape, of which the NFL is part.
And that's all you really want at the end of the day.
The Rich Eisen Show.
Hold on a minute. This is probably my therapist.
Go to podcast1/Rich Eisen to hear every show.
Holy cow. Yeah, I love them bagpipes, man. You know, I'm one of the, I don't know if I'm the only guy, but I'm one of the few guys that actually can play the song that I come to in the ring. We got Mick Foley with that part 2. Yes. Thank you, Mick. Thank you for staying. We're having some fun. We had last week a guy from Boston, which we both recognized right away. Hi, I'm from Chris from Boston, and we win and everything, and we just want, hey, Mick, are you there, Mick? Yeah, he's here. He's great stuff. We were talking about, last week, let me see, we were talking about the Royal Rumble and this WrestleMania coming up, how we thought Roman Reigns was going to do with Brock Lesnar, and I think we both were kind of thinking they're going to have a tear-em-up match. Are you going to be at WrestleMania, Mick?
Yeah, I will be. I've got an exciting week, and I want to point out, give a big shout-out and thanks to your city of Portland, because man, my Portland show sold out a month in advance.
Way to go!
So yeah, really excited about that, and I've got a whole week starting in Seattle.
Where are you going to be in Portland, Mick?
I'll be at the Helium Club.
Helium Club in Portland. What day?
That'll be the 22nd of March.
It's sold out. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but the 21st, for the people listening, Seattle still got some tickets. We got 2 shows that in one night, and then Reno, for some reason, Reno's got a lot of tickets for nice. Tuesday night.
How are you liking it? Because you and I did a show together in Chicago, maybe, or I'm not sure where it was. The horror convention. Horror convention.
Horror convention.
How you doing with it? How you liking it?
You know what? I love it. I really love it. You know, some nights are better than others, but most nights are really a lot of fun. And on nights when everything's falling into place, man, it feels so much like like being in the ring. It's, you've done a lot more acting work than I have, but I've done my share, and I always find that while I like it, I kind of miss that instantaneous feedback.
Yes. A lot of actors won't do live.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's tough, and
I'd rather do live than act, wouldn't you?
I do. I love it, and there's that. But if you've been on stage, and anyone who's been on there and tried it when it's just you and a microphone has bombed. And I'm glad I have, because you learn more about yourself from tanking than you do from killing.
Never a sailor was made on a calm sea.
I love that. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I never learned anything by doing it right.
But I've been, working hard on these shows and working hard since you last saw me in Chicago, and it's to the point where, like, I really look. It's a really good energy before I go out there. Like, it's not like it's not really the butterflies. It's like this, really looking forward to it, and
it's so cool. Do you have someone open for you?
You know what? Usually the club will provide somebody. I just ask them to do like 10 minutes clean. Fairly clean, because I work pretty clean. I drop like maybe one bad word, and if I do it right, Roddy, I'll actually get like a big
smart.
I'll get like a standing ovation sometimes.
Do you think I could open for you sometime?
Of course, man. Yeah,
I so would too, man.
When we did it, we did the dual bill, if you remember.
Yes.
Like, they were having it Foley versus Piper, and so we came out and we we did a coin flip, as to who would go out first. So we did it in quarters, which was fun. It was like you did yours, because I didn't want anyone, either of us, to be in the situation where people were like
judging,
think who was better. Like, no. I wanted the overall show, and we had that for people who don't know, and if it's all right with you, I'd love to have the video release, because there is that video where we were telling the cookie story, and then the lights went out, and when they came up, Diamond Dallas Page was on stage with us, and he told me later, he goes, "Bro," he goes, I'm telling you, it felt like I was doing a run-in, like on Nitro, like. It didn't, and that's what's cool about doing these shows, is that, and this goes back to a famous, because I get asked, I'm jumping around here a little bit.
That's okay.
But I get asked by people, like, well, what's that like to go from working in front of thousands to working in front of a couple hundred people?
Yeah.
And I quote Hacksaw Jim Duggan from WrestleMania 3.
Oh!
Jim had come back, I guess he had one of the opening matches on WrestleMania 3. He came back, and the boys in the back were like, "What was that like, Jim? What was it like with that huge crowd?" And I'll never forget his answer. He goes, "Brother, I didn't have my glasses on, but those first 3 rows looked good." And when you get down to it, it's all about making that connection with the people you can see.
Yeah.
And that night when you and I were out there, telling the cookie story, and the lights went out, and he came up, and DDP was on stage. It was every bit as emotional as if there had been 20,000 in there. And so I love it. I look forward to it. I've got a show, the 2 nights before Mania in San Jose, Friday night. It should be I'm looking forward to it, like it's a WrestleMania for me.
So, and are you doing a show at WrestleMania in that town?
No, I'm doing San Jose's right next to Santa Clarita.
Gotcha.
And in that
I'm going to come and see you.
I would love it, man.
I'll hide in the crowd, and I'll feed you lines. Talk about Piper. Oh, no, that's not a good line. When we were together, I had a blast.
It was a great time, and people left that. That it wasn't such a building. It was like a tented outdoor area. It was
as like stump hollering as you could get.
But it was great. And then it was after. Have you seen the documentary "I Am Santa Claus" yet?
I finally watched it. I had finally caught up with my mail, and we need to talk about this now. I watched it, and the gentleman that was Santa Claus.
Yes.
Is that gentleman is he Santa Claus?
Roddy, what I told you in the film, And what's funny is I've seen the movie. I've seen it 3 times with audiences.
Okay.
And each time you get these 2 big laughs. With one is just the arch of an eyebrow. You arch your eyebrow when I say that I was at Santa Claus's house, and then I show you the photo, and you will go, "You were at Santa's house," and it gets this huge reaction, and it's one of the best cameos. It's just such a cool thing. But what I told you is that I was in the guy's house for 10 minutes. And I went from thinking, all right, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. I'm talking to this guy who wants me to think he's the real Santa,
Yeah.
And 10 minutes in, he was so convincing that I found myself actually thinking, here I was at that time, I think I was 46, maybe 47. And in my mind, I start thinking, can he hit 350 million homes in a single night? He really suspended disbelief by being so good at what he did. And, I got this comment, and it was from Norah Jones, the singer. She was doing a show with a couple friends of mine, it's a side project, so, pretty low-key show, holiday show, and I was running late. This was a year and a half ago. And I walked into the building, from the back of the club, and never thought about how my appearance was affecting the performers on stage. And I was always shy around Nora. She sold 37 million albums. I never knew what to say around her. She was always nice to me, but I never had what I thought was a rapport with her.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine said, "Hey, Norah Jones gave you a shout out," and she gave this explanation of me coming in through that back door, and she said I don't know how to. I'll remember these words till my dying day. We talked last week about you remember the really good things and the really bad, and to this day I'll remember these words. She said I don't know how to describe it because it was so surreal. He looked so real. He is Santa. And right away, with all respect to people who've said nice things about anything I've done in the ring or writing, I was like, that's the nicest thing anyone has ever said.
He convinced me. He's all in. We know that for sure.
Oh yeah, this is what I say. And I think you're the same way. I'm not a toe dipper.
No.
I don't go, all right, let me test these waters.
No, you're a jumper-inner.
Yeah, I'll jump in, and sometimes I stay down there and don't come up for air for too long a time.
It was great. I thought the thing was great. I really did. And your obsession with this just even points more towards the nice guy that you are. I understand that you even dressed up a room in your house as Santa Claus, which got a lot of heat on me because I don't have one, but it was very cool.
I'm looking at it right now. It's my place to go and kind of decompress. I love it.
Your bat cave.
I guess the real, it is. It is my bat cave or man cave. Some guys surround themselves with the stuff they did in their career, and that's.
I don't have anything like that.
I would have guessed, and I was going to ask you. Because my feeling is people remind me every day of what I did, and I know, and when I wake up in the morning, I never have to guess what I did.
Yeah.
And that stuff's there for me whenever I want to see it, on the network and
sure.
The stuff I did, thankfully, through WWE has made it possible, that the stuff we did will go on, forever.
Forever, yes.
But when I'm on my own time, I like to be around the stuff that makes me feel most comfortable. For me, that's Santa. And hey, Roddy, if you don't mind, if I could jump, it's the real world can be a tough, cruel place, and I was mentioning this raffle I'm doing. For a group called Rain. I hope the contest is still going. People can check my website, realmickfoley.com, or go to their website, rain, RAINN.org. But
okay,
we have
just a second. Just at RAIN.org? RAINN.org.
.org
Or the Real Mick Foley.
or just realmickfoley.com.
realmickfoley.com. And tell me what you're doing.
What we do is, it was pointed out to me a few years ago that like auctions are great, but you're limiting your auction to like the couple dozen people who can pay the kind of money for some rare or important memorabilia. But when you do a raffle and you open it up at just $2, a ticket, I think there's a minimum 5 tickets, so it's a $10 chance you're basically taking to win this dream vacation. It was the third year we're doing it. The first year we raised almost $60,000. Last year we raised $112,000, and this is after like the expenses that go into it because we do fly people from anywhere around the world. We put them up in a hotel. We put them in a luxury suite at WrestleMania. They have the Hall of Fame tickets, the tickets to my show. And essentially, like, I'll go out on a limb and say, like, if they want to do it and it's there, like, no matter if it's a Ring of Honor show, Dragon's Gate show, whatever the case might be, I'll make sure they get, they have the time of their life. And 2 years ago was a guy from a Scotsman from Canada.
Hi, lads.
A Scotsman living in Canada sounds like someone that I know.
Yes, sir.
And then, last year was a guy from Tennessee, but it can be someone from literally around the world, and they just kind of take a chance, and they know that the odds are against them. But I think it can be difficult to just flat out put out a tweet that says, hey, make a donation.
Yeah.
But if you give people a little bit of an incentive, I think that they like the idea of doing the right thing and helping people out.
So what does RAIN stand for?
Man, Roddy, it sounds like the most pleasant-sounding acronym, but it's tough words. Rape, abuse, incest, National Network.
Holy cow. Really?
I was a volunteer online, and I had a pseudo, code name. It didn't say Mick Foley on it. Had a different name, and I every week for sometimes several times a week for 2 years, I'd go on there and do my best to try to help people take those first steps in repairing.
That's real serious.
Their lives.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was heavy, and it. And I found out it wasn't as tough as I thought because, after, for a year and a half, I was really letting those stories get to me, really let them get me down. And so now I help out in other ways. I try to create awareness and try to raise money. And this seems to be a home run. Like everybody wins, and it allows people who would ordinarily never be talking about the subject to talk about it a little bit, and and then they go on the website and they learn a little bit more, and how to support people who've been through it, how to for people who unfortunately are survivors of sexual violence, they can learn how to deal with it, how to take those first steps. So this wrestling thing is a kind of a way to get people, to raise some money and get involved.
Those people, they suffer. They suffer with shame and guilt, and they never talk about it. And their entire life, there's not a day that goes by that something doesn't remind them of it, what they should have done more, or whatever it is. So, that's pretty cool that you would take, what does it stand for again, rape?
Rape, abuse, incest, and the NN is National Network.
And do you once this money is given to them, is it give them a chance to go see somebody? Or how do you bring them out to talk about it? Well,
it started out, RAIN started out as a national phone hotline,
Gotcha.
With, I should know, the 866 something HOPE.
Yeah.
But as technology changed, people were using cell phones, and so the calls weren't being routed necessarily to the nearest help center like they were originally. Yeah. And now with with technology, people, they don't feel comfortable to begin with talking about this subject, but they're far more comfortable with online. Writing the words, and so that's where I would come in. I'd get on. I would usually do like a late night shift starting at 10 or 11 p.m. and I'd go on, and there'd be 15 people in the queue, and You come on and, some of the, like, here it is, it's, midnight, and, my wife would be going to bed, and I'd see these words on the screen saying, like, tell me why I should live.
Oy, oy.
And then she'd wake up at, 6:30, 7 a.m., and I'd still be online with that same person trying to, trying to convince them that,
you're a hell of a man, Mick.
You're a
hell of a man. How can I help on that one? I would help you on that one any way I can. Maybe just come into your show. I don't know.
Come to the show. Send out a tweet. You and I'll exchange. I'll send you a tweet. I'll tell you, how to get the word out. Just talking about it on the podcast is a big deal. It's not like a, it's not something people have a golf tournament for.
No. But I'm a big booster of helping those people. I left home when I was 13. I'm a big booster of helping those people.
Thanks, Roddy.
Yeah, and I love you for doing it. I got a just another one. A question, just moving gears, and we'll come back before we finish the show, so they know where they can get their tickets and all that. I got one guy. Let me see. I'm horrible at mentioning their name. Sally Hansen. Okay, no relation to Stan Hansen, I hope, because he's blind as a bat.
And through the hardest clothesline in the business.
Absolutely.
Not a good combination.
No, sir. No, sir. It says, what is some of your favorite promos that you did to get underneath the skin of another person, and how did they react? Anyone, I don't know.
I don't know, and I wasn't. The really good promos, or some of them. Obviously, they don't have to be. You could do them in a fictitious, scenario. But Terry Funk used to call it borderlining.
Borderlining.
You would really be working close to the skin and getting underneath it.
Yeah.
When you would call someone out on a character trait or a flaw, you never want to get to the point where you can't do business because you're really you're really bothering people. But I remember, for example, doing some promos on Ric Flair, because Rick and I had a kind of a checkered past. And I thought the promos went really well, and then I was like, but they weren't done like they were done while Rick was away. Rick was, recovering from an injury I had inflicted on him. Yeah. And I just remember thinking, like, wait a second, have I gone too far with these things? And so I sent him a text message. And he got back to me, and he said, "I think they're great," and then we were able to go in and do business.
He's a consummate pro. My favorite Ric Flair promo, I've done so many on him, is, well, you know why Ric Flair dates two girls at the same time? That way, when he falls asleep, they got someone to talk to. Said it so many times, he almost repeats it as I say it.
That's good, man.
Oh, yeah. I never really worry about their feelings. I always had a couple of rules. One, no family.
Right.
Two, if there was something that happened, that they were contemporarily being ostracized for, no, that's out. That's about my rules. Anything else, I whipped that Mr. T. I said everything I could about him. I boxed him in WrestleMania 2, and the whole damn crowd starts chanting my name. Go figure. Let's see what I got you here now. Let me see what I got you. And did you ever get under anybody's skin? Let me see, put it this a different way. Is there anybody, and you don't have to name them, that you just didn't have a chemistry with, it just didn't work?
Oh, sure, man. There were times when it just didn't click for whatever reason, even if on paper things looked like they were. But one thing I could say is that I think I had it was pretty easy from a character standpoint for me to click with most people. There were times, when it might be just a guy who was strictly an in-ring technician, where I just couldn't find that something in the character to make the promos interesting, or maybe it was, just a conflict of styles. But I like being able to find guys with different styles and find ways to incorporate,
me too,
my own style and put my own stamp on it. And from a technical standpoint, like I wasn't known as a really much of a technical wrestler, but going back to the DiNucci training, like you had to be able to hang with a technical wrestler, even if you were a brawler. You had to know enough so that you could incorporate what he was doing into your own style, and so I like doing that. To this day, one of my favorite matches, probably my second of all time, is with Shawn Michaels, and there was quite a bit of technical wrestling.
Wow, Shawn Michaels! I didn't know. I got to take a break, and when we come back, you said your second favorite was Shawn Michaels. I want to know your first favorite. Hang on,
you got it.
We take a break right now. Mick Foley. Hey, folks, listen, I just wanted to take a minute to thank you and all my great sponsors and all of you great listeners for supporting my sponsors and this podcast. All of your contributions help make this show possible. And I wanted to remind you that you can support our sponsors by going to the show page at Podcast One and clicking on the Support This Podcast banner, and there you'll see my wonderful sponsors that help me keep the lights on and free for you. In addition to my sponsors, you can also support the podcast by using my Amazon banner. Amazon offers this show a small commission on any product you purchase. Doesn't cost you an extra nickel. Nothing. Amazon does it for me. You can even use my Amazon banner if you're located in Canada, the UK, Africa, Kuwait. Also, to make it easier for all future purchases, feel free to bookmark my Amazon URL. Okay, then, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for doing this for me. Let's get back to the show. Yeehaw! Okay, I got the incomparable Mick Foley, first wrestler to write a book that was in the top 10 or maybe the bestseller. Has done a lot of firsts. He's doing a great job in his comedy act that he's doing right now for WrestleMania. The RAINN, RAINN.org, for people of sexual abuse. Mick's standing up for him. He's going to be performing around San Jose during WrestleMania time, and I'm going to be down there to watch him. And we got him I got 12 more minutes with him because he's got like $365,000 to get, and he's talking chump change over here. So I got a caller, Kevin from Los Angeles. Kevin, are you there? Hey, bud. Kevin from Los Angeles, you there, buddy?
Hi, I'm here.
Well, I'm glad you're there. I got Mick Foley on the phone with me. You got a
How
question?
You doing, Kevin?
Got a question for Mick?
Yes, I do. First, I want to say I'm a huge fan of both of yours, Mr. Piper and Mr. Foley.
Thank you.
Mick Foley, I was there in 2000 when you wrestled Triple H in the Hell in a Cell, and that was just an incredible moment for me, and I was really honored to be there. But my question is with all the lawsuits and tragedies and things throughout the years, I can't help but feel a certain guilt for being a fan sometimes. My question is do you think that's wrong for me to feel? And is there anything I can do as a fan to ensure a safer, more fair environment for the wrestlers who are out there risking their lives?
Whoa, that's a heavy questions. Man, I feel a little bit of guilt when I see some of the things guys are doing. Whenever Roddy, here's some. This one of the regrets I have is I wish I had not narrated the TLC special on the network.
Yeah.
Because the ladders, man, they just the stuff guys absorb on the ladders. It's just like, as a guy who knows, what hurts and why, I can't figure out how guys do that. It just seems like type of match instrument that shortens careers.
Yeah.
We all know what we're getting into. We all know what we're doing. I mean, I would say, but I think people by and large have accepted that guys aren't going to be able to do the things they used to. Wrestling fans, if somebody looks down on wrestlers because they're not taking unprotected chair shots to the head, then we don't really need them supporting us anyway. I think fans do understand, that we've learned a lot, and they understand when guys are hurt. That and Roddy, I think this is one of the things you and I had a Twitter conversation about, that actually takes more guts, like to admit that you're hurt than to suck it up and pretend you're not.
We were taught never show pain.
Oh yeah,
and to the promoter, how was that? That was nothing. And like, dumbass. When a guy in Hollywood rolls a car or does a stunt, he tells his team, Hell Needham taught me this. So they roll the car. Hell Needham tells his team, you run your ass down there and get me out of it, because it's what you make of it. If you just roll the car and get out, that's what they pay you. If you roll the car and a bunch of guys got to pull you out, they pay you more. That's the truth.
I like that.
I've been hurt so many times. I'm like, no, I'm fine. No, you're not, Rod. Like Hillbilly Jim said, I got more issues than TV Guy. So, Kevin, you're saying that you feel guilty because you're endorsing it by watching it, and they're in pain, and you shouldn't? Is that what you were saying?
I'm saying that, I just feel guilty sometimes because of the environment and just the bloodlust and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Well, you're a pretty kind guy, Kevin. Thank you very much.
I did a lot of the blood and guts stuff in Japan, and I always felt like it was really respected. I mean, that's what we're looking for is, the respect and the idea that, there are boundaries to human, suffering, and that we shouldn't be asked to go above and beyond that. And
I haven't found them yet, but I suppose there are. Last question, what do you fear, Mick? If any. What do you fear? I've got a lot of fears. I mean, we talked the past week, about the fears that we weren't there enough for the kids, and I always feared falling short of my expectations or the crowd's expectations. Really feared like gassing out, in a match and not having anything in the tank. That's a big one for everyone.
And that's the way I felt, not to we shift gears a little comically to something called the Wing Bowl in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When I was in a wing eating contest and realized, 9 minutes in that I was way out of my league, that the 50 or 60 wings I thought I was capable of was going to be about 1/7 what these other guys could. Literally 1/7, and so I felt like a guy. I mean, I never did the hour match with Flair. I wish I could say I did.
I did a lot of them.
I imagine I felt like the guy 10 minutes in who realizes what a long night he's in for. Except, and then I just realized I'm going to throw up on national television, and
Ivan Cole. I'm sorry, go sir.
So I conveniently got caught cheating by Tommy Avalone, the director of I Am Santa Claus, and was ejected from that contest. But those are a couple. That always scared me as a wrestler.
The biggest fear, I think, of all fighters and any pro wrestlers, UFC guys, boxers, is running out of gas, running out of air. And Ivan Koloff, who I just found on Twitter. And he should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
WWE Hall of Fame. Ivan the Russian Bear Koloff was one of the greats. And you need to have him there. But he's told me, he says, I know I'm going to blow up, so don't worry about it. After that, I never blew up again. It's just like one of those real simple tips.
And you know what was really profound to me when the Warrior gave his induction speech, and he was notorious for blowing up.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he loved blowing up. Like, he loved being out there, being completely out of gas and trying to get through. And he said, like, he would give years of his life to be able to feel that one more time.
Now,
I thought,
go ahead.
I'd never looked at it that way because I was always terrified of it and just hated it when it struck. Like, fear would really kick in. There is a famous saying, I think, that said, fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. You take the toughest, bravest guy and, cut off his oxygen.
Yeah.
And he's looking for a way out in a hurry.
For sure.
That was always my fear, that I was under-conditioned and that I wouldn't be able to have the type of match I wanted to because of that.
So when I was there too in the Hall of Fame when the Warrior took the stage, and I'm watching him, and I'm seeing him sweating hard, which for us, is a little bit unusual because our job's to be comfortable in the most uncomfortable situations, and breathing just hard, and he was always intense. But when you watched him that night, did you notice anything that different? Did
I did. I noticed I did notice the sweating.
Yeah.
And I did, and I think you and I both kind of knocked. I can't remember if you did. I mean, I knocked the speech on Twitter. And in retrospect, obviously, I wish I hadn't done that. I just sent out one thing, and then the next night I was in, or Tuesday night, I was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I was asked about his speech, and I said, you know what? I said, I shouldn't have done that. And this is hours before I found out he passed away. I said, I shouldn't have said that. That was disrespectful. And I said, I talked to a guy named Brian Gewirtz, who's one of the head writers of Raw.
Great guy.
And I said, well, yeah, great guy, really sharp. He said, and one of the things he said made a lot of sense. He said, if you cut that speech down a little bit, it would have been an amazing, 10-minute speech where he said, I learned something from every person I met, even if it's what I wanted not to do.
Yeah.
WWE gives you the tools you need to succeed in life, and so I thought there was some great stuff in there. And like I said, the one about blowing up and relishing that feeling was really profound to me. So I regret that I said anything, and I was really happy that when Raw aired. And Jim got to do that one last, I'm just prophetic promo. I'm prophetic. I want to make sure people know, and I'm not putting it down. I'm saying it was like he was almost calling his own,
yes, sir.
his own death. That the last thing you see, I think it's the last thing. I know she's on there. I'm not sure if it's the absolute last thing. Is my daughter in the front row, applauding and smiling and kind of, representing the Foley family in their appreciation, that I should have given but didn't.
Hindsight 2020. With myself, with the Warrior, he was always respectful to me. I never had a problem with him, never worked with him. I saw the differences. One of the things he used to talk about is his promos. And all the guys, they don't make no sense, they're stupid. And so I took upon myself to watch him, and he's going, and the Warriors and the Rain. I went, wait a second. These promos are for kids. They're not supposed to make any sense. They're perfect. And then my little Warriors come. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. He's not there running for president. However, I do know that one of the things that the Ultimate Warrior had expressed was, guys should know when to hang it up. So Flair, Hogan, and Piper, you guys should have hung it up a long time ago. And I understood the words, but I didn't understand why he changed his last name to Warrior. Maybe and here's my daughters, and the daughters were beautiful. My little Jenny Warrior, Symphony Warrior. Wait a second. But the family was beautiful, and if that, and the man, I hope that he's sitting next to God, bench pressing whatever he does. You've been so great and so generous, as you always are. Let me just get it right first. Again, at WrestleMania weekend in San Jose, Mick's going to be there doing his spoken word comedy show, and I'm going to find him. I'm going to be there. The Rain, RAINN.org, for people that have suffered sexual humiliation and have trouble. Mick, as usual, has drawn money and given it to him. Giving it to that organization, or if you go to Real Mick Foley, right on the front of his website, you can find it there. Like the tickets are $1 or $2. You can only buy 5. So, and all of it goes to, they take out the cost of the machine, whatever, and then everything else goes to RAINN.org And Mick is going to be in Portland. Woo! And I'm not there. Baby Jesus. The Helium in Portland. Shoot. You're killing me on these shows. You're killing me, Mick. I want to do another one with you someplace, sometime. You're an exceptional man. You're very
Roddy.
unique. Allow me. You're very unique. People don't realize until they stand next to you, you're a big bugger, too. And a lot of guy there. An exceptional father. I don't know that I don't know anything bad about you, and I'm pretty damn good at it. Thank you so much for coming on the pit. And I know, like 5 minutes ago, you had to go, and you're still here. Is there anything I forgot? Please help me out here.
No, man, I appreciate the time, and I'm gonna call you out here and say, will you, if you're there in San Jose, will you join me for the Q&A?
You got it. I'd love to. And
Deal.
what's the date on San Jose show?
It's 2 days before Mania.
Got it.
I'm doing a little run: Sacramento, San Francisco, San Jose.
Gotcha.
2
days before Mania is Friday the 27th. March, Friday the 27th. Mick will be in San Jose, and so will I. I'm for free. You got to pay for Mick because he's got talent. Love you with all my heart. Give the kids a hug. And, let's keep crossing paths down the road because you always put a smile on my face.
Hey, thanks,
God
Ron.
bless you.
I'll talk to you soon.
Comparable Mick Foley. We have been honored. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, holy cow. I don't know. I'm getting in so much trouble. I just finished a movie called The Chair, and I'm going to Toronto to do another movie called Portal, and then I'm up in Manhattan and lots of places that will keep you in tabs. Next week, I don't know. There's a vicious rumor that maybe Stan Lee might be around. It's just a rumor. You'll have to come back and listen to see if it's the truth. Right now, goodbye. Have a great time from Piper's Pit. And remember, take the day.